I think everything gets bigger in season 2, and bigger and deeper. It's, season 1 we laid the groundwork and kind of set up this world and these characters, and I think it felt like we only last night really watched the first episodes for the first time, and it just begins. We pick up exactly where we left off with a lot of energy, and it's bigger in the action. I think you learn a lot more about the characters, and the breadth of the world. It seems to open up in a lot of ways.
Well said.
What about for you guys, for your characters? What's going on? That you can say.
Yeah, no, for me, this is in season 1, Silver's trying to leave the island, almost trying to leave the show. He's breezing in, has no real interest in staying here any longer than he has to. And season 2 for Silver is about this world slowly drawing him in. Work out not only what this world has to offer him, but also surprising for him, I think, who he can be in this world. That he couldn't be anywhere else. And and I think it's really him, the beginning of him starting to become the pirate that we all know he ends up being.
I think Max is, she's gone through such a horrendous first season. She's really, really hurt, and I think she's sort of past that period now where she's, very, very sort of sad and depressed. She kind of finished that at the end of the first season, and is now kind of very skillfully and very carefully creating some kind of puzzle piece to figure out exactly how to, maybe screw the right people over, maybe make some money, maybe have some revenge, but mostly just put herself in the best position she can on the island. So that's her main focus.
How much knowledge did you have, of course, of Treasure Island, and then of course Silver before going into your roles, and how much did they educate you about your character before you actually stepped on set?
I mean, for me, it's great because my character is completely fictional, so I was really, really lucky, and I went to John Steinberg, our showrunner, and said, how much of this do you know? How much do you want me to do on my own in terms of backstory? And it was great because we kind of came up with things together, and how she ended up on the island, and I just had an immense amount of freedom. It's been really easy for me because I've been able to kind of do whatever I want with her.
Yeah, and I mean, I think Silver, especially in season 1, like I went to the book straight away, and the temptation was to jump ahead, but he's not a pirate at the beginning. He knows nothing about this world. He's an outsider. So, especially at the beginning of season 1, Silver's almost the audience point of view, the one coming in and being told what this world is, how it works, and seeing it all unfold. So, while had a bit of a backstory at that point, in a way it didn't matter as much as some of the others. It was more what he was going to come in and kind of be this thwart to Flint. So we had some early chats with John about building where he might have come from, but I think with Silver it was always much more about where he's going.
It's Long John Silver begins.
Yeah, that's right.
Really
Yeah,
the
it
beginning.
is. That's it. You go, this is the beginning of the origin story, really, and that's the funnest thing for me is starting to slowly, I think in season 2 it's almost episode by episode start getting closer and closer to who he's going to become.
That's never really been told before. We were, Treasure Island. We get him full on.
Yeah, and you also everything you hear about his past generally comes from him, and
right.
Which means it's probably all made up. He's someone, and that's as you see in the show, who he's kind of great at telling his own story and building up for whatever will be most useful to him. So it's been a great treat.
What's your favorite version of Treasure Island?
I mean, for me, it's Muppet Treasure Island. It's like, I love it to death. And I actually think it's one of the best adaptations as far as the things they've cut and kept in and build up the action. It's like, even if it wasn't the Muppets, it'd still be a great version.
It's so funny.
But,
Sorry, go ahead.
No, but I love it. I have to try not to think about it too much on set. Yeah.
I was just going to say it's so funny because we get asked that question a lot, and I've heard Luke say the same answer, and he gets equally as excited every single Muppet.
Yeah.
It's just like, and this is why. It's just the cutest. It's so cute.
Yeah, I hope one time I'd love to do a bit of a get together with some of the other Silvers. Yeah, as an excuse to meet Tim Curry, really. But but it's that's it. I always want to go back and watch it, but I know it would be a bad idea because then I start picturing the other characters as puppets.
Yeah. Because Silver would be this massive, just huge,
Yeah.
hilarious character all of a sudden.
Yeah.
We had a lot of fan questions that were about Max and Eleanor's relationship. Can you tell us anything about how that is going to progress going forward, or?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's so hard in the first place when you get hurt in a relationship, and it's I can't even imagine, because it's two such strong kind of women, both really, really smart women, and it's strange because Eleanor, it's like you feel so bad for Max, but what Eleanor is done in a way, she's made a decision where she's put her career and her lifestyle, she's put that first over her love, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. So I think there's a sense of she's kind of been villainized in a way when maybe isn't particularly fair. It's just an opinion. I mean, I know that through first season I was like, I hate her, and now I look at it a little bit differently, actually. And I think for Max, she's struggling with being really, really, really hurt, but then you have to try to understand why this is happening in the other person's perspective, and then there is that element of her that's like, okay, I'm gonna be on the level with you, and I'm gonna be as respectful as I possibly can while still being really, really hurt, and potentially will fuck her over if I can, but but also it's not really about that.
Sorry,
No,
as a viewer,
please, yeah.
having started to see some of season 2, there is a little bit of enjoyment though at seeing in some of the early episodes that Max's power and Eleanor's, that there's a big swing happening in who's actually got the most control on the island.
Yeah.
So I think for anyone who was kind of on Max's side in season 1, there's a little bit of glee in that, I think. Like,
Definitely.
All right.
Yeah, it's good.